Hello, welcome to this edition of the Sports Den Live. My name is Dominic Papa. Thanks for joining us here at we-tv.ca. Before we get into the show, this is going to be a special edition of the Sports Den. Of course, usually we talk about the hottest topics in sports. Today we're going to focus on one sport, one athlete, one guest speaker. We'll call her that. She's very well known to our part, so we'll get to them in just a moment. Of course, as I do each and every week here, I want to give a shout out to a few of the teams in the area. The Leamington Flyers Junior B hockey team under Coach Tony Perassi. Very impressive. Of course, the defending champions in the Western Conference. They look really solid again this year, sitting in first place. Just 5 losses up to this point as they approach the halfway mark of their schedule, so an outstanding start for the Leamington Flyers. Also, what can you say about the Essex 73s of the Great Lakes Junior C League, the defending champions there? I've set the bar so high. Coach Gil Langlois and the team who look like they will repeat again this year, although Lakeshore and Amherstburg may want to say something about that. And the Windsor Express basketball team, their 7-game winning streak comes to an end. They lose on the weekend to Mississauga. They'll look to start another streak this upcoming weekend with a couple of games. Hopefully Bill Jones and the gang get back into the win column. We're going to talk about the sport of boxing. Of course, we have some great boxing history here in our area. We've had a lot of boxing champions, and we have one boxer that's still very active in his sport. He loves his sport, and that's what we're going to talk about today. There's an upcoming card coming up this Thursday evening over at the Motor City Casino, and it features Windsor boxer and former Canadian champion, the Beast of the East, Mr. Ali Mansour, who joins us on the show. Welcome to the show, Ali. Did I get that right?
No.
You know what, Ali? You're going to have to beat it into me, and I'm sure you could do that.
Okay.
The Beast of the
Middle East.
Beast of the Middle East.
Yeah.
Damn. I'm going to get that right by the end of the show, I promise you, Ali. But thanks for coming in. We'll get to your fight in just a moment, but obviously you're still training very active with this.
Definitely.
Yeah. How many days a week are you going with it?
We're going 6 days a week, twice a day at least. Mm-hmm. I'm working with Rob Maggio from the St. Clair College. Mm-hmm. He's doing all the conditioning work, and I have a couple local trainers that are helping in the boxing prospect of it, yes. Okay.
We'll get back to you in just a moment. The other person that I had alluded to on the show with us here today, she's no stranger to doing a lot of great work in our community with AM 800 CKLW Radio. She's hosted her own radio show. She's done some stuff with me over the years. We hope to be doing some stuff together down the road in the future. But she's doing a lot of great work in a lot of places. And she's actually going to be the MC for this boxing card over at Motor City Casino. So if you want to check her out, she'd love to have you there. Ali would like to have you there. But of course, talking about Miss Kara Rowe. Welcome to the show, Kara.
Thank you for having us. I appreciate it.
Well, you know what? Kara Rowe gives me a call. I jump. You know, it's like got to do what Kara needs and help her out. But I mean, you know, Ali's obviously a local Windsor guy, and obviously our MO here is to support local, and certainly this is a good person to support. Your job though over there, you've been pretty active in helping with a lot of promotions over there, haven't you?
It's kind of essentially how I got into broadcasting. Being a world champion, you interviewed me as an athlete, said, hey, I think you should get into broadcasting, interview other athletes. The same thing happened here.
That was just a couple of years ago.
It's just a few, when I was 20, right? So basically what happened was I was fighting for a lot of promotions in Detroit at a Kronk with Emmanuel. And I had a back injury, and they said, oh, we still want you a part of the show. Sure. Can you start interviewing other athletes? Same kind of thing. And I already had the background from the Spitfires. And so then that transitioned to, we don't even want this ring announcer anymore. Do you want to start ring announcing? And then after ring announcing, they said, well, you do a lot of work with broadcasting. Why don't you start doing some of the press? And so, and it's easy to promote athletes like Ali, you know, who train hard, undefeated, and are coming to fight, so, and have a lot of skills. So it's kind of fun to be able to, you know, the opportunity to promote on both sides of the border, because I do have access because of my background. A lot of connections over there with whether it's the Free Press, the Oakland Press, things like that.
I still sense, though, Kara, that you still have that burning fire in you, too, as well, for the sport of boxing.
Yeah, and you know, I've received some calls. Yeah. There's been talk of people like Mia St. John. People want to still put on another fight, and I just, basically, I'm at the point where show me the money. Yeah. You know, when I was younger, it was about,
just getting in there and doing it.
Being competitive and just doing something where my training can go in a direction and get those W's. And now it's kind of, you have to do it and pace it out. Just like, it's hard for Ali. He has businesses, he has kids. I mean, that makes it a whole other, bag of tricks.
Well, I think that's why a lot of people admire you and Ali, because you're juggling that job, that family life. You have a little one now. It's all of those things, but yet you still show great passion and commitment to these endeavors, to the sport of boxing. So it's very admirable, and what you both do is tremendous, and certainly a lot of people should support you just for those reasons alone. I'm going to ask my producer, Steve Bell, of course, talking about Kara Rowe. Here, Ali, I don't know if you've ever watched this lady in action, but we dug up some videotape of Kara doing her thing. And this is Kara back in action. Like I said, a few years ago anyways.
Yeah.
But Kara would eventually win a world championship, and I had the good fortune of watching Kara compete in battle, and it was very impressive. It was like a Jekyll and Hyde. You know, you have this wonderful, lovely lady outside of the ring, and then once she got in the ring, boy, did she ever turn on the nasty switch, I'll tell you. It was pretty impressive. But do you look at some of those videotapes at all still, Kara?
Yeah, those disgust me pretty much because a lot of stuff that's actually on YouTube, I had an injury. Like that, I had I had bulging discs and herniated discs in my back. But I kept taking the fights because I had trouble turning it down. I had trouble stopping. And a lot of athletes will keep going and keep going through those injuries. And I think that's why you want to right some wrongs. So it'd be nice to have, one or two more fights just to feel that I can demonstrate what I know I'm capable of. But I always had that switch. Everyone has that fight or flight, and for me, I never had that flight. It was always fight. And my coaches used to pray for me to get hit, so that as soon as I got hit, that's when I would, turn on the jets. So that's why you saw that there was that different person, that transition in the ring.
It's quite the different person, I'll tell you. Of course, you can see at the bottom of our screen, if you do want to get involved with our discussion, if you want to talk to Ali or if you want to talk to Kara, you can go to our Twitter address and tweet in, and if I get a chance, I'll read a couple of the messages or the questions you may have. If you want to comment on something, by all means, go to our Twitter at SportsDen Live, and we'd love to hear from you. Ali, much like Kara, the passion, the hunger for this. And I got to be careful I say this because I don't want to get beat up by both of you here. But boxing has taken a turn into the down cycle, so to speak. It's not as popular as it was.
I don't know why you say that, and a lot of people say that.
Okay.
And
Correct.
every time somebody says that, it makes me angry.
Good.
I wanna
Okay.
fight.
Well, I'm going to say it to you before
Okay.
Thursday night, okay?
Okay. Who's the most paid athlete right now?
I mean,
world.
per event,
Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't see a sport diminishing that
but
much.
Floyd Mayweather,
Yes.
if he fights, he gets paid, right?
Of course, but all he needs to fight is once or twice a year. He
Right.
fought twice last year. He made over $120 million.
Okay.
So how many times does he need to fight?
Right.
That's enough to draw all the attention to Vegas and draw all the crowd all over on pay-per-view. That's all you need.
Sure.
Yeah. Versus a whole, it's a budget of a whole hockey team in 1 year's pay.
Okay, maybe compensation-wise it hasn't struggled or fallen off the map, but certainly I guess
The
just the number of
publicity,
people
the promotion of MMA took
Okay.
over a little bit in the USA
Okay.
and North America a little bit. That trying to compete with boxing and took away a little bit, or tried to, and everything. Every time you watch an MMA thing, they always compare an MMA fighter to a boxer. They brought James Toney to fight Randy Couture, and then James Toney at the end of his career and not trained.
Yeah, I didn't like
you know
that
what I mean?
myself.
I don't like that much
Yeah,
either.
yeah.
Just to want to prove
Get a
that.
boxer that's
Come
in his
on, we want to
prime.
prove that MMA is like boxing. With all due respect to MMA, it's a sport on its own. It's a world on its own. And all credit to their athletes. They're tough and train super hard too.
Sure.
But boxing is an art of boxing. It's a noble art of boxing. It's a total different game. Total different game.
Okay, then what needs to, I guess, get it back to its glory days? I mean, when you hear about the MMA getting television contracts, and I know boxing still gets televised. I mean, HBO, I still think is
HBO, Showtime,
Showtime. Yeah,
ESPN.
they're still pretty
it's-
much
it's-
involved with boxing.
still-
But
it's still in
but the MMA is getting CBS, NBC, groups like that involved.
Well, see, this is what happened. Back when I started boxing a long time ago, basically the networks would dictate who's fighting. Okay, we're going to put Tommy Hearns on every month, and you knew that you're going to see Tommy every single month. Now, a promoter takes his wallet out, pays for a show, and you're going to see maybe some of his scraps, you're going to see some good fights, some bad fights, and you're seeing something different on TV all the time. So you don't get familiar with any athletes, you don't see that same face over and over, And there's a ton of different organizations. You know, we know that the top of MMA is UFC. You know, then you have things like Strikeforce, you have Bellator, but the UFC is the top
Yeah,
dog.
that's where everybody strives to get to.
Strives to get. So now, but we have so many different organizations, whether it's the IBF, the WBO, the WC, whatever we happen to have, then you're not seeing these guys fight each other. You're not seeing that consistency every week or every month where you're getting a chance to get familiar with fighters. Also, we know we live in a land of reality TV. I mean, everything you see on TV now is reality TV. Boxing never adapted. MMA is all about, they promote their guys in a way where they're showing them train. They're doing kind of like a 24/7 Mayweather for every athlete. You get really familiar with their family background, their history, their training, so you get emotionally tied to them. Whereas boxing, they just are still so old school and they're in that, you know, old boys club that they haven't moved forward and trying to adapt as much.
You mentioned the WBA, the WBO, IBF, all that. Did that hurt boxing when all of these different championships were created and different organizations? Did it kind of saturate the market?
No, because the WBA is, for example, Russia, all these Russia, Italy, France, they have their own league. And then the WBA title mostly represents their league.
Okay.
Now you want to come to USA and fight kind of thing, your major belt is the WBC. And then there's the IBF, the International Boxing
So it kind of was
Federation.
dictated by areas of the world.
Something like that. Like, for example, there's a lot of fighters that come down and fight from that areas that we've never heard of. And then out of nowhere, for example, we had a Canadian fight, Jean Pascal. He just fought over the weekend, last weekend, Roberto Bolonti. Never heard of this guy. Our Jean Pascal is rated second in the WBC in the world. Then they got another undefeated dude from somewhere in Argentina or Italy, Bolonti. We never heard of him. We just hear of him from the promotion. This guy came over. He has 30 fights, 40 fights. Manny Pacquiao just fought Chris Algieri. I don't know if you heard about that fight or saw that fight.
I mean, of course you hear about
I've
Manny
never heard of
Pacquiao.
Chris Algieri before ever in my life. And this Chris Algieri comes out of nowhere. So he's representing a different organization. Then he comes and then they want to unify, or he comes and jumps in to get into the other
Try to get the big
organization.
gate.
Yes.
Try to get the big gate. So where does boxing have to go at this point then?
They have to create superstars.
Okay.
Like we
But
need superstars.
Mayweather is a superstar, is he not?
But how
Pacquiao-
many names can regular people on the street, like they just can't, you can't name a lot of these names. And if people were to name boxers, they would say Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali. They would, you know, these.
Go back to the old school.
Yeah, they would go old school.
The other thing about boxing and boxers is, in MMA you see the records. Nobody has a perfect record ever. In boxing, they're all afraid about keeping that record virgin. Mayweather doesn't want to fight Pacquiao because he's afraid of the loss. Nobody wants to lose. You see the MMA guys.
Who would win that fight?
Who would win that fight? I think Pacquiao will give him a run for the money, but I think Mayweather is a little bit smarter,
Okay.
personally. But
So how much of, I guess, the business end of this sport, and I always say there's no such thing as true sports anymore. It's all business. I don't care if it's the NHL, the NFL, NBA basketball, Major League, it's all business. Look at what the athletes are getting paid. It's all about making that big payday and getting there and doing that. Boxing, or how much of the business is dictating where the sport of boxing is going or has gone?
Well, that's what I think happened back when I said that the promoters started paying for the network time. Instead of the network saying, I want these guys on my card and I want them to fight in 3 months, you know, that you always have the same faces coming back because they are high-end quality athletes. The money just started dictating who's going to be on TV. And TV is everything. I mean, I know I fought on ESPN and, you know, I fought a girl that wasn't anything. It was a last-minute replacement. I mean, I used to get 25, 50 fan mail letters a day, right? Fight, and that was my third pro fight. Fight for a title, wasn't televised. There's no publicity. I mean, TV is everything to an athlete. It's the most important thing. So all that money is dictating what we're seeing, and we're not seeing any consistency, and there's no familiarity with the fighters that we're seeing. Just like you said, you're seeing world titles fights. You don't even know who the opponent is. You barely know who the top guy is. Money is just taking everything down.
say, for example, right now HBO goes in, Max Kellerman, they like one athlete. Or they want you to like the athlete. They want us to think that this athlete is the best. And then they start going, oh, this guy, this guy, this guy. Who the hell is this guy? We never heard of this guy. But now they're promoting him so hard. So they're drawing the attention to this guy. And I'm, from a fighter point of view, I don't think this guy is anybody, for example. But they want us to believe. And then they promote it. And then when the fight happens, it's not as as people are expecting it to be. It'll be an easy fight. Like this Algeria guy, they made him Superman. He's nobody. Any other fighter could have beat him. Easier maybe than Pacquiao beat him.
Promoters then, the boxing promoters. I mean, we hear about the gentleman from the UFC, Dana White, is it? I mean, he's out there front and center, and he's talking. He's got press conferences going. He's out there promoting. Are there effective promoters for the sport of boxing at this point? I mean, back in the day, again, was Don King and his hair. You know, he was famous for that. But is that maybe part of the, I'm not going to call it a problem, but something that needs to be brought up to another level as well?
I think it's a little bit different nowadays too, because there's so much self-promotion options available for athletes. And some athletes just aren't into that. Whereas back in the day, you know, you had to have your manager send you to different interviews. But I found like through my boxing career, there was no promotion of like, you're going to hook up with this radio station, this TV station, this newspaper. We didn't have that kind of promotion. Whereas one of my teammates, I have a fight team that I train in Michigan, and Darren Cruikshank, he's going to be fighting the UFC this Friday. You know, and the UFC sends them overseas with troops. They send them all these different places to promote the UFC itself, not just him. You know, and I don't think we have that boxing, that level of promotion of the actual sport.
Do you have a promoter that you work closely with, Ali? Or?
I have Carlos Linas in Detroit.
Yeah.
And I worked with Jim in Montreal.
Okay.
So yeah, that's basically.
And that's all you need, basically, I guess?
Yeah, just to keep me busy a little bit when I need to fight.
Okay, I got to take a commercial timeout. When we come back, I want to talk to you about your opponent, your upcoming fight, what you've been doing to get ready for it. Kara, we want to talk about what they're going to expect that night, what kind of great card's going to be there, and why people from Windsor, Essex County, and everywhere should be at this card, okay? We'll talk about that right here on the Sports Den, right after these words.
We're wishing you all a very happy Christmas from Bob Riem Sports. Christmas season is upon us, and we have the apparel for the sports fan in your life. We will have many specials between now and Christmas. We can supply you with the gift for the special person on your Christmas list. Ho, ho, ho! Just wanted to send out a special thank you to all of our customers from the past from Bob Riem Sports, and looking forward to seeing you again in 2015. Once again, have a happy holiday.
Hi, I'm Joe Quenneville, coach of the Chicago Blackhawks, and a proud graduate of FJ Brennan High. I can remember fondly my 5 great years at Brennan. It seems like just yesterday that we're there. A lot of great life lessons that I learned along the way, particularly from my teachers in the Catholic program. I want to wish everybody there good luck, and look forward to being a proud graduate and being a proud Cardinal going on here in Chicago.
Like our champions, we know what it takes to win. Every day we put on our uniforms and we strive to be the best. Ring after ring, we keep practicing until it becomes second nature. Our craftsmen have put in thousands of hours to master their trade. And when things get tough, we make the adjustments needed to stay on top. Baron Championship Rings. This is who we are.
Adding new products or services to your brochure? Updating those drab business cards? Or looking to create a striking window display? In need of some screen-printed signs for that construction site or promotional campaign? Posters, vehicle wraps, and a whole lot more. At Angel Star Digital, our expert design and production team are ready to meet all your promotional needs. For samples of our work, check out our website at www.angelstardigital.com. Or you can call us at 519-969-0712. That's 519-969-0712.
Thanks for sticking around. Welcome back to the Sports Den Live. Dominic Papa with you, and we're talking boxing tonight. Ali Mansour, the outstanding Canadian boxer, is joining us in studio. Also, I don't know where to go with you. You got so many hats these days, it's hard to figure out which one I got to go with here. Kara Rowe, of course, of AM 800 fame, also of just television fame, and all her own boxing career is also with us in the studio. The reason why they're here is because there's going to be a tremendous boxing card coming up this Thursday evening, December 11th, at the Motor City Casino, and Ali Mansour will be featured on that card, and certainly we should get out and support him. Kara Rowe will be the MC for that night. Is that getting televised anywhere, Kara?
It was supposed to tape to air.
Tape to air,
Yeah.
okay. So
So
that'll
we'll
be on
see.
at another time?
Yeah. We're not sure. They have to solidify a time
Okay,
slot.
okay, now will it be available web-wise, or,
Not for tomorrow.
no?
Or not for Thursday.
Not for Thursday, but down the road even?
Possibly.
Possibly,
We'll
possibly,
see.
okay. We'll work those things out
Yeah.
down the road, okay? I'll let Ali talk about his opponent. You've never fought with this gentleman, right?
No,
But you're pretty familiar with him,
I've seen him a couple of times.
okay. Denny?
Damon
Damien
McCreary.
Damon McCreary, okay. Tell us about him.
I don't know. I don't even know anything about him myself. and I
He's
don't
just
care
worried
to
about your
know.
own game, right?
Yes, I worry about myself.
All
He's
right.
got to worry about me.
Exactly, I like
That's how
that.
it goes, yeah.
Okay, well, talk to me about you then. What kind of shape are you in right now, and how do you feel, about your
I
boxing?
am in good enough shape to take care of business
Okay.
this Thursday. I trained hard and a lot of local help. Rob Maggio helping me physically, as I said earlier. And, oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, you like that, right, Ali? Yeah, it looks good. You like that. Yeah, obviously we've dug up some video of you in action and taking care of business in the ring.
No, he has the opportunity to work. Adam Trupish is back here again
Yes.
too.
Okay.
Professional.
lot of local talent and trainers.
Yeah, I
All-
mean Windsor's got a good boxing history.
They
for
do
Sure.
have a lot of talent. Charlie Stewart, Doug Bedard, Josh Canty, Henry Gannett. And now we have the young blood like Adam Trupish, Olympian, 10-time Canadian champion. He left Windsor for like 8
Yeah, he
years.
went out west for a little while.
west. Now he's back, and hopefully he'll stick around. He's a great boxing asset that can help because the older generation are smart and wise, but physically, it's now time for them to take a break and just watch and enjoy.
Yeah, well, you're what, 35?
35, yes, I'm 35 years old.
I mean, how many more years?
To be honest with you, I'm what they call low mileage.
You don't have a lot of mileage on the ticker there.
No high mileage. I'm a very low mileage. I've been stored nicely.
Okay.
And yeah,
So you want to go a few more years then, at least.
at least.
Now, is there still the aspiration, Ali?
The world champion, sorry to cut you, the world champion right now, Vladimir Klitschko, is what, 42 years old? Yeah.
Well, I mean, we saw George Foreman compete at a very high level for years in his 50s, and I mean, he obviously proved that experience
We
does
just,
pay
we
dividends.
just had a light heavyweight, Bernard Hopkins, just compete for the world title at 49 years
Right,
old.
right.
So this is what gives us the motivation to say, I'm still young compared to these dudes.
Yeah,
man.
you're just a pup
Straight
to
up,
them.
and I'm a heavyweight too.
Yeah. So is that still the goal here? Is to
The goal is
to get that world?
The goal is, I'll tell you, boxing is a drug.
Okay.
Every time I try and stay away from boxing,
Oh,
it
yes.
comes back. Kara was saying, "Oh my God!" Now tell Kara, you have a fight. She'll go and train, and she'll go fight. Any fighter that gets to the taste of glory and victory and fame, when you win and everybody comes after you, you want that. It's
It's a certain level of intensity, like when people actually go to war and you get that adrenaline rush and that intensity.
and then you get your
and
hand
you
raised
seek
at the
it.
end.
Yeah.
It's the best feeling ever. The only thing that beat that feeling is when I had my first kid. Then I was more proud of anything I've ever done, which every human being, most human
They
beings
should.
get to enjoy that. So the only thing that beat that moment is when I had my first kid, straight up. I don't know about your experience, but that was my
I just said,
experience.
get her out of me. Take the drugs.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
More
on your
drugs.
side of I wouldn't be on your side of
You might not feel the same way, Ali,
no,
if that
no,
was the case. Kara was like, get her out of me and let me get back to the gym.
Yeah,
right?
I totally did, yeah.
Exactly.
I have to tell you about this fight, though. It's so exciting. I've been around Damon McCreary for a long time because he came up in the Kronk generation with me. Been around Ali for a long time.
You should ask her about it.
It's like, because I'm
Well,
so
she's gonna
excited.
tell us right now
I
anyways,
can't help
Ali, so
myself because
she
I'm
knows
really
him.
excited about this
No,
fight.
we want to hear about this guy.
And
anyways.
the one thing I told, like so many people have asked me, I'm very excited for the talent level and skill level of this fight of heavyweights. Because as we were talking about, like Klitschko, we watch him and, a lot of people are concerned because it's boring and he plays it safe. And these guys both go to war and they have tremendous skills. So it's really exciting to see, because some boxers you're seeing out there, some fights you're seeing out there, it's sloppy. Like it's just not that same level of talent sometimes when you're watching the skill set. And both he and Damon are extremely talented. Every time I see Damon trains at my gym in Detroit, and every time I see him, I'm like, dude, just get in shape because you've got the talent, you've got the skills. And we've been watching videos of him He's posting on Facebook. He's training hard. And Ali, I always say that about him, like his skill set. And you'll never see a heavyweight throw as many punches as him. He just will go and go like an Energizer bunny. So Damian's 15-2. His 2 losses have come to really tough guys, and he tore his bicep in one of the fights. So, and we have Ali here, who's 16-0. I mean, this is a tremendous fight. They're fighting for a title, the first opportunity for both of them to fight for a title. So you know they're going to bring it because Ali's going to bring his crowd. And there's a big like Lebanese crowd too, Arab crowd over there that is going to come to the Motor City Casino. We also have a lot of people from Windsor. And then Damian's got his hometown crowd there as well. So it's going to be, it's a border battle, but I mean, it's going to be a home crowd for both of those guys. So it's going to be extremely intense.
Yeah, I think it's going to create a good atmosphere.
I got the edge on the crowd, though.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
I got the Windsor crowd and I got the Detroit crowd.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm sure you got a following on both sides. The mindset for this fight, how much of that becomes the mental part of it? How important is that to achieve the outcome you want? Aside, I mean, obviously you got to have the physical ability. You got to be in good shape, but mentally, in any sport, there's a mental aspect.
Of course.
Yeah.
When I first started boxing, before my fight, I wouldn't sleep for 3 days, just thinking about the fight, right? But as you fight and as you get the experience, and the more fights you get, the more that's your home. So I'm used to it.
It's the office.
So so it's like an everyday thing. Actually, I get excited about it. Now they tell me, oh, you're fighting a 6'7" guy, you're fighting 7'2" guy. I'm a heavyweight. I fight big guys, small guys. Doesn't matter.
But it has to change your plan of attack.
Of course, the plan of the attack. Like a lot of people tell me, did you watch tapes about this dude? I don't care about the dude. I care about me. If I'm in shape, I can adjust to any style, any fighter in there. If I get my shape in the way I want, I can do anything I want in the ring. I dictate the pace. I make him fight my fight. I don't fight his fight.
Okay, now are you in the ideal shape right now? Are you at the weight you want to be in?
I am in good enough shape to take care of this fight.
Okay, but you're not telling me if you're in your best shape.
I'm going to keep that a secret.
All right. What else can be expected that night, Kara? I mean, boxing cards are usually a pretty big show, and I love the idea of this being at Motor City Casino. I mean, that kind of brings back the old days of when they used to have the big fights in Vegas and things like that.
Exactly.
I love this. I think this is a great idea.
I think the whole card is going to be pretty fantastic. You have guys that are young amateurs, guys that are 18-2. You guys have really tremendous records that are going to be fighting on this. Anthony Barnes, he's 7-0 right now, trains with Adonis Stevenson, who's out of Montreal, and world champion. I mean,
he was in Windsor too.
He was in Windsor training.
He had his training camp for his last fight.
Yeah, it's just, he's been all over the map. I mean, he's one of the most famous guys out there right now.
Some pretty credible fighters.
Yeah, pretty credible. They're making their way up, and that's what's been great about Carlos Salinas constantly doing these fights in Detroit, is giving these guys an opportunity to keep getting more fights under their belts, and then they can hit that big stage. And we've had a lot of guys out of Detroit get to that big stage because we've had so many fights, and there's being very consistent.
Yeah, of course, again, the stage being now Motor City Casino, which again, I love this idea of going back into a casino and promoting it that way. Quickly, Carol, where can we get information for tickets, things like that? How can people make sure that they're there and that they can buy the tickets?
So it's happening Thursday night, Thursday night, Motor City Casino. You can get the tickets at Ticketmaster.com. You can also Google Motor City Casino, Google the soundboard, because that's where it happens. And we're going to start the fights on time. I say that all the time.
What time does the card start?
At 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Yeah. So we're
It'll
going to
start
get
at 7?
everyone. We're going to get everyone going because I'm the announcer, so I can just start saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, let's go!" So
get your butts in your seats.
Yes,
We want to get some boxing.
because you want to get the gambling and the buffet in after. So
Well,
it works
there you
out
go.
perfect.
Yeah. Where are you on the card, Ollie? Are you?
I'm the main event.
You're the main event. Okay.
sir.
He's the real deal.
So we'll get to see Ollie a little bit later on in the evening. How many fights before that? Do you know, Kara, off the top?
So far, we have 8 scheduled.
8 scheduled? Oh, it's a good night of boxing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of good boxing.
And they're going to be wars. I mean, we've seen some fights that they put on where it could be a guy that's 4-0 versus 0-4, and it's been a war toe-to-toe, guys getting dropped. It's these young guys coming up, they're hungry. So, and they have a lot of battles that they have to get through.
Do you give predictions?
Predictions about what?
What round you're going to win? And
I'm going to win. That's all I can tell you.
that's the only prediction?
It doesn't matter how it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
All right. Well, hopefully it'll happen. I think it'll happen. We believe in you, Ollie, and we certainly wish you luck.
Thank you.
You can send him an early Christmas present if you want. Kara, we'll look forward to seeing you in action in the ring there.
Yep.
I know you're going to do a phenomenal job, as you always do. And thanks for coming in today. This is great for us, so we really appreciate you giving us some of your time. I know you're busy, both busy people, and can't wait to see the fights on Thursday.
Thanks so much for having us.
All right,
Thank you for
good
having
stuff.
us.
All right, check out Ollie Mansour in action this Thursday. Check out Kara also doing her thing. And you know what? Just make it a fun night and make it a very proud night for our area. And let's help Ali on to a victory, okay? We'll do one more show before the year is out. So come back next week. Join us right here on the Sports Den Live next Tuesday evening. Until then, this is Dominic Papa wishing you a great night. Thanks for tuning in.